Hey everyone, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. My name is Raelan and I'm going to be talking today a bit about my experience of living with and recovering from chronic fatigue syndrome. So what I'm going to be talking about today specifically is how I managed to balance doing that hard work of healing and recovering from chronic illness while still trying to find some joy and happiness in life and still live my life. How I dealt with all the things that I had to sacrifice to get into that zone of healing and recovery and to find joy and happiness and contentment in life in spite of having to miss out on so many things and make so many sacrifices in service of myself and my health and my future. In the long term, it can be really tough to keep finding that motivation and the endurance to stay disciplined, to stay focused and stay on track with your healing plan while life seems to go on without you. Watching your friends and family do all these fun things, and so much of it you just can't take part in. So what I'll cover today are the biggest obstacles that I faced during that process, the things that were the hardest for me to deal with while recovering from chronic fatigue syndrome, and the hacks, the tricks, the habits, the new perspectives that I developed that helped me to stay happy and content with my life while I buckled down and did the hard work of getting myself well. Throughout that process, the time that it was the toughest for me to stick to my healing plan was when my health started to improve a little bit and I actually had the option. I had the option to choose to go out and do things sometimes or to stay home and take care of myself. That's when that mental discipline or those skills and habits really came into play. But I do believe that at every stage of the illness, this is always something that we battle. It's always something that we face. Because even if you're stuck in bed for the entire day, there are still decisions to be made. You still have to decide if you're able to sit up, how much of the day you're going to spend sitting, or if you're able to talk and visit with people a little bit, how much of your day you're going to spend visiting, or how much of your day you're going to spend on your phone, on social media. So I think at every stage of the illness, this always comes into play. All right, so let's dive right into this. So here are some of the main problems that I faced while I was recovering from chronic fatigue syndrome and the antidotes that I found to those problems that really helped me get through it. And as someone who is pretty much brand new to YouTube, it would be super helpful if you like the topics that I'm discussing. If you want to learn more about chronic fatigue syndrome recovery, if you could hit that like and that subscribe button below the video, that would really help me get this information out to more people who might be able to benefit from it as well. Problem number one, envy. You want to be out living the lives that other people are living, and you are jealous. You're jealous of the people who can run marathons or train hard at the gym and make those incredible gains. People who can travel the world and go on adventures and take selfies on the beach or work hard and excel at their career, find love and enjoy time with their loved ones. And everywhere you look, it seems to be all around you. People are starting families and trashing their bodies with seemingly no consequences. It's an understandable emotion, but envy is poison and is eliminating any chance of your feeling peaceful or happy. An antidote is finding a way to truly feel joy for others. And you might have to fake it in the beginning, but eventually you will start to feel it for real. Like, how great that they just got that promotion. Look at all these beautiful, happy people out skating in the sunshine. Find ways to want everyone to rise up in their lives. Let's do this all together. Another problem I faced was FOMO. I, at times, had some serious fear of missing out because in my experience, you can't do the hard work of recovering from chronic fatigue syndrome and do everything else that you want to do. Something has to give. Actually, most things have to give. You only have so much energy, and the bulk of what energy you have, you're gonna have to devote to getting yourself well. But what if I don't go to that party? I'll miss out. Or the wedding, or the family gathering, or a friend's birthday, or maybe a group backpacking trip, out seeing the world, or perhaps it's a concert or a big night out. And it can be especially difficult in this Instagrammable world. There's nothing all that social media worthy about resting or juicing or meditating. And the antidote to this I found is tapping into your own leverage. Picture both the best and the worst possible outcome for you. Picture what will happen if you put the bulk of your energy into healing, and then imagine what will happen if you don't. We already know what the result of these lists is going to be. You know that the long-term rewards far outweigh the short-term gains. So make these lists and put them up someplace that you see them every day. Having these lists up will help you to engineer motivation every single day and remind you what you're working for. And that a year from now, or maybe even less, you'll be in a much better place than you are now. It will make it much easier for you to stick to and honor your limitations while you're recovering. And virtually all that stuff you think you're missing out on will still be there next year. Again, on repeat, I promise. Yes, there are a few things that are unique, but most things in life really aren't as unique as you think they are. It's not going anywhere. And if you put in the work now, you'll be able to enjoy it so much more fully later on. Next problem, loneliness. Chronic fatigue syndrome recovery can be lonely business, and studies show that loneliness is as bad for your health as smoking 5 cigarettes per day. I think that the impact that loneliness has on our health is something that far too many of us take for granted, but over time I came to appreciate how toxic and detrimental loneliness was to healing. We need to drive this home. Loneliness is poison. Loneliness is poison. An antidote to this is to live with somebody. While recovering from CFS, you will be at home a lot. So the best way to combat that loneliness is to have someone else living at home with you. Well, get a roommate. This could be a friend or it could be a stranger. If you have a spare room, you could list it up for rent. This could be a romantic partner that you move in with. You could move in with a family member. Now, don't write this one off instantly because it sounds too hard or because you think you value your privacy too much. So remember, you'd be avoiding 5 cigarettes per day. Next problem, boredom. Healing can be dull and boring, and sometimes you can feel like you're losing your mind. Healing from chronic illness can be even less exhilarating than watching paint dry. Antidote? Schedule your social life. Schedule some social days and always have something to look forward to. So pick one day per month or however much you can manage and schedule on that day to do one of your favorite things that you're currently capable of doing. Whether that's getting out to explore your city with one of your favorite people, check out the beautiful architecture that's around you, any new buildings that have gone up, just enjoy the sun, maybe find some street art, or maybe you can get out and be near the water for a little bit if that's something that really makes you happy, or find a way to enjoy and connect with nature. Or scheduling a date at your favorite coffee shop with your loved one or friend, picking a day when you know exactly when you're next going to get out and enjoy your favorite Lao or Indian or Japanese food. Always having something to look forward to makes those weeks when you're working hard and living in your healing bubble so much more easy to manage. Next problem. Managing any kind of social life can be incredibly overwhelming, even if it's a really small one. And it's really important for you to hang on to some friendships, to see your family if you're close with them, to maintain some connection with the outside world. I found that at times I had a bit of mixed feelings around this because I wanted people to reach out to me and include me, invite me places, but then I also found that when they did, I would get stressed and overwhelmed because I knew that I probably couldn't make it and I really hated saying no. Or sometimes I would say yes because I wanted to go, and then when it came down to it I would have to cancel, and I didn't like feeling like that flaky person, that flaky friend that couldn't be relied upon. Even though it wasn't me that was unreliable, it was my body that was unreliable. It didn't seem to change the way that I felt. So getting too many messages with people inviting me places and having to continually say no just caused me a lot of stress. And the antidote that I found to this was to make my inner circle really small. When you're recovering from chronic fatigue syndrome, large social circles are the enemy. It's much easier to manage just a couple of key people in your life. Later, once you're healthy and back to your old energetic self, you can have as many friends as you want. But for now, keep it simple, keep it small. Make it up of people who are understanding of your current situation. It's much easier to manage just a couple friends who already know that when they invite you places, there's a good chance you're not going to be able to make it, and that's okay. They're not going to hold it against you. Make sure that there is at least one other chronic illness warrior in there, even if you only ever chat with this person online. So you do need some people in your life, but keep it small, and you definitely need people to talk to who understand what you're going through. Next problem during chronic fatigue syndrome recovery. Those feelings that come sometimes where you just get angry and you just think, this isn't fair. Why is this happening to me? You look at the vibrant and energetic lives of the people around you and you just can't get past the injustice of it all. The antidote that I found to this was perspective, finding a new perspective on life. a perspective that embraces the reality that everybody has phases in their life where they need to step back and work on themselves, or at least there are times when this is what they should be doing. People face all sort of obstacles in life and have all sorts of chapters throughout their life, and some of them involve putting most of their focus on one specific thing and doesn't resemble any kind of balance in their life at all, whether it's getting over addictions or healing some broken relationships in your life, reconnecting with family, getting a university degree, working really hard on a career. Many people unfortunately have their own health, whether it's physical or mental health problems that they need to recover from. So when I was feeling really angry or just really, this isn't fair, I'd remember that I'm not special and I am not immune to the struggles of life, just like nobody else is. Remember that despite the highly curated lives of everyone that we see every day on social media, everyone suffers. Everyone has chapters that are filled with pain, and everyone at times misses out on aspects of life that they crave deeply. Behind every smiling photo is also a story of pain, a story of sadness, grief, anger, problems that we are all socialized to hide, which can make us feel very alone when we are experiencing our own struggles. Everyone has hard phases in their lives, and you are not alone being in one of your own right now. Another problem with chronic fatigue syndrome and chronic fatigue syndrome recovery is, what can you do for fun now? Because you can't currently do a lot of the things that you used to enjoy doing. So whether that be biking or surfing or clubbing or dancing, whatever it is, it's pretty safe to assume that many of the things that used to bring you joy are not currently an option for you now. And the antidote to this is to find new sources of fun. Since you're going to be at home a lot, find things that you can do from home. For me, it was painting. Now granted, when things were bad, I could not paint, but on my better days, I could. And then I had all these paintings around me eventually that I could look at and could bring me joy and remind me that I could still do things and create things that I was proud of. Looking at these paintings gave me a daily sense of accomplishment without even leaving my home. I highly recommend finding a hobby that allows you to express yourself, something creative. There are so many crafty things out there that you can do, and if you don't know how to do them or you don't have any artistic talent, that is okay. Do them anyways. Find some ways to adapt the things that you used to do. If you really like to travel, instead of going on a holiday, do a mini staycation and hang out in a local hotel in your city for the day. Or book yourself a day at the spa where all you do all day is lie down while people pamper you. Instead of hiking, go for strolls in the park. Or perhaps if cycling used to be your thing, then rent an electric bike and let that bike do most of the work for you. And focusing on what you can do instead of on what you can't will go a long way towards bringing you joy during your chronic fatigue syndrome recovery. And the last problem I want to talk about today is that sometimes it feels like all of the hard work that you're doing isn't actually getting you anywhere. Every day you're doing the work and making the sacrifices, and you're wondering sometimes if it's all for nothing. And the antidote to this one is to keep a I did it list. So instead of a to-do list, you're going to keep a list of all the things that you've already done. Something up in your home that is big and in your face and that you see every single day. You need something visual that is reminding you that you are in fact getting closer and closer to your goals every single day. There's two things that I found helpful keeping on this I did it list, and one is aspects of my healing regimen that I achieved, that I accomplished. So perhaps I did a 3-day green juice fast, or I committed to 3 months of a whole foods plant-based diet to see how it would impact my healing. So these are just examples of things that worked for me, but anything in your own healing plan, in your own healing regimen, things that you have committed to, followed through on, things that you have done for yourself, for your body, for your future, put those up on the list. And the other thing that I found helpful to put up there were any gains in my health at all, no matter how small. So if you're mostly bedbound, but you find that you're able to sit up for more hours during the day, put that up on the board. Or maybe you're able to actually start going for occasional walks, put that up there. Or if you have an exercise plan that you were able to start, and maybe you've progressed from 1 minute to 2 minutes of exercise every single day, put that up on the board. It's important to see that you are in fact making progress, because you have to keep going, because there is so much out there that is worth fighting for. If someone had told me all the adventures that were waiting for me once I got past this illness, I never would have believed them. There is so much living waiting for you out there, and when you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. So read this board you've made every single day. Find daily joy in all that you're accomplishing and in valuing the trajectory that you're on, because real achievements do not happen overnight. That true, awesome, lasting kind of achievement that we seek never looks like anything much on any given day, but the trajectory, that is where we have to keep our sights. That is where the magic is happening, even if we don't get every single thing right, and nobody could, because this is all about progress, not perfection. But by being committed to your healing plan and by working at it every single day, you're going in the right direction. All right, and I'm gonna finish off with a shameless book plug here, because I talk about a lot of what I just talked about in this video in the book that I wrote about my experience of living with and recovering from chronic fatigue syndrome. And if you're interested in learning more about my story, about what it was like for me living with chronic fatigue syndrome, what the things were that finally allowed me to recover, I encourage you to check it out. I'll put the link to it in the video description below. And please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this, and click that little gray bell to ensure that you don't miss any future videos that come out. I post new videos every week, and I'd love to have you join me for the next one. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next week.